Hello, this is Jonathan Joyner, and this is my presentation on the Aleut. Scattered among the many islands of the southern coast of Alaska, the Aleut are known for being a fishing community. So, when the limited entry program was introduced in 1973 to delay overfishing in the region, Aleut society became reorganized. Catherine Reedy Mashner performed 20 months of fieldwork on the Aleut people in order to explore the long-term social ramifications that would result from the introduction of the limited entry program. She found that the program resulted in exaggerated socioeconomic disparities due to the ability for a select group of Aleut men from prestigious families to continue fishing normally. On page 218 of the article, kinship is said to play a pivotal role in the production, sale, and distribution of the wild fish because large families have the ability to make up for the shortages. For people without complex kinship groups, they often struggle just to obtain the minimal amount of fish they need. Chapter 17 in the Conformity and Conflict text looks at kinship groups within the Indian village of Radicoti. Family loyalty is described as a paramount value that allows for members to help each other economically. Family members hire each other in businesses and offer hospitality, regardless of if it's reciprocated in the future. This close connection seen in both the Indian village and in the Aleut community allow for cultures to play off individual strengths for the greater good of the kinship group. In her other article entitled Where Did the Aleut Men Go?, Catherine Reedy Mashner describes the causes of depletion in Aleut males over centuries. As seen in page 585 on her article, Reedy Mashner reviewed historical records, journals, genealogies, censuses, and conducted her own fieldwork in order to trace the demography and organization of Aleut society both before and after foreign intrusion. The article cites two major instances as the driving factors in reducing the number of Aleutian men. The first of these was Russian and Siberian trappers coming to the region in search of sea otters and fur seals. The second wave consisted of Scandinavian and other European fishermen. According to Reedy Mashner, both of the involvements were primarily economically driven, as the natural resources of the region were highly sought after. Page 606 of the report states that because the two contacts were explicitly male, power imbalances were formed within villages and homes, which pushed many Aleut men out of the gene pool. The paper states that to this day, the Aleuts remain socially, culturally, and linguistically diverse, and that there are likely no living full-blooded Aleuts. A point in this article that connects to the conformity and conflict text is the idea of polyandry. The Reedy Mashner article states on page 588 that the ancient customs of the Aleut included polygamy and polyandry within the households that could support several spouses. This custom even continued after Scandinavian commercial fishermen arrived and intermarried locally. The article cites this as a, quote, modern form of polyandry, in which the Aleut men and women would remain in a marriage, but the women would take Caucasian lovers into stable relationships. This would allow for the two men to be supporting the household, since the Aleut men would often need to spend extended periods of time away from the home. The practice of polyandry is also seen in Chapter 18 of the textbook. Melvin Goldstein looks in the practice among the Tibetans living in northern Nepal and finds that the groups of brothers often choose polyandry as a way to preserve their family resources and not to have to give up their inheritance. In the article, A Burial Cave in the Western Aleutian Islands, a team of anthropologists were able to make connections to possible early Aleutian burial rituals. On page 83 of the article, they explain that the Aleut used a spectrum of burial practices, including burials in sarcophaguses, pits, caves, dunghills, rock clefts, and the side rooms of houses. According to the article, the wide variety of burial rituals was possibly due to the unavailability of sufficient caves, along with changing religious practices among the Aleut people and differences in status among individuals. The meaning behind rituals is sometimes unable to be determined, which is why the anthropologists were only able to provide likely causes for the ancient rituals and not definitive explanations. The Nasi Rema article from the textbook offers a satirical look into the explanation of rituals from an outsider's perspective. Thankfully, the anthropologists in the cave article offer multiple possible explanations for why the Aleut performed the many burial rituals that they did, rather than just jumping to their own conclusions. In a shorter study on drinking patterns among small Aleut communities, Gerald Berriman found that drinking is often the dominant social activity and is incorporated into a variety of social ceremonies. While some Aleuts report there being no controversy over drinking, there are many cases, especially in the community of Unalaska, where problems with drinking affect family life. Berriman records that some women are left to maintain kin ties, family life, and community life due to abusive drinking of men. The idea of the increase in dependency on women to fulfill multiple roles within a family is also discussed in Chapter 35 of Conformity and Conflict Text. In the chapter, the authors discuss the necessity for women to migrate in order to find jobs that support their family. While the specific roles are not the same between the Aleuts and the women in the article, the increase in dependency on women to fulfill more roles is quite similar. The response to globalization is unique among the Aleut people, as described in the article entitled Sustaining Sanak Island, Alaska, a Cultural Land Trust. The Aleut have figured out ways to be place-focused rather than place-based. Though the arrival of countless groups of people searching for economic opportunities, the Aleut have learned to adopt global ideas in order to profit economically while still remaining true to their roots. By leaving Sanak Island uninhabited, the Aleut are able to maintain a source of identity. The necessity for maintaining identity is also seen in Chapter 15 of the textbook. Once the government of Malawi overruled the policies on fertilizer put in place by international lenders, the nation's citizens were able to experience the end of a famine and improve health. In both cases, the cultures were able to implement aspects of global influences while still keeping the needs of the community in highest regard. Thank you for listening to my presentation on the Aleut. I hope you enjoyed it.